Okay, let's put myself through a 5-minute auto pairing challenge. Again, first to 5. Casanova. Right. Avoiding the exchange of knights there. Well, this might not be too brilliant. That g5 square, is that any use? Are we taking a knight h5 now? Not. Am I taking bishop g4? Is that too bad? Materialistic. But what's the use of that pawn, I wonder? I'm on e6, there's pressure on e6 and the g file. It's past h pawn potentially. Do I want the knight on f3 or e2? I'll put it here. Knight d2 to c4 later. Or b4 to stop c5. So with queen a3, so maybe I'll just castle here. So if f5, queen f4, there's bishop h6, maybe not queen f4. Oh, there's queen d6, knight b6, queen can go back over here. Okay, so I'm probably going to be attacked on this g file. It's probably b4 just to try and get some counter-attack going, or queen e4. Because f5 looks as though it could be a menace. And that's queen h3. Okay. Queen h3. Right, because it is holding up, okay, e2 a bit. There's always knight g5 here, maybe, on f7, which could be annoying. If this moves, then knight h5. Okay, probably just being attacked. Knight f5 here takes, queen takes, knight d7. Knight takes f7. A lot of pawns. Oh, I can try and carry on an attack here. I'm probably going to get hacked here actually. This looks as though, okay, that looks as though I'm in trouble because the rook takes g5 as a threat. The queen's not in an ideal spot. I messed up my positioning quite badly here. That's just horrible. I think f4, just try and sack a pawn to rearrange the pieces. Knight e2 and queen f3 if I'm lucky. If I'm not lucky, then it's over. Oh, there's bishop g5. Okay, so what about... okay, I might have to... it just looks terrible. If I take and then knight e2, that might be queen g5 even. Or queen h4. So queen g5, maybe I just take. Queen g4, maybe I take a knight f7. So that was probably my best chance. Yep, he's played a very logical game. Good pawn sack. He's going to castle just queen side as the game, and it was good. Yep. Alright, am I setting him any difficulties here though? There's constant threat of rook g5 if queen c7. Oh, okay. At least one issue is solved. This knight is not going to be lost for nothing. Maybe I can play g3 here. There's actually knight h6 as a threat. If he misses that, if he plays f4, maybe knight h6. I could potentially be back in the game. Otherwise, check maybe. Oh, okay. Maybe it's worth going for it. Okay, my pawns are falling apart. We're talking 2 pawns down. Can I get a rook to the 7th? Try and get some counterplay. I don't know about knight f7, rook d7. It's not brilliant. Try it anyway, because I don't know, rook g8, knight e5. If rook d7. Okay. So knight e5 here. Just losing all my pawns successfully. This wasn't good. I can't do anything here. It's resignable. Nope. What about knight f4? It's time to resign, really, I think, if I pawned down. Or is it? I think it is. Yep. Next game. So 1-0 to the auto pairing. That was just horrible. Oh, that was terrible. It's just greed. Materialism punished. I think the queen should have come to e4 when I had the chance. That was just horrible. Okay. This could be a wipeout today because I'm on a higher rating. Let's not be too negative. I can win. I can win. This one is queen h4. Actually wins a pawn on d4 straight off the bat. So maybe if I just ask this bishop to exchange off first and then f3. I'm protecting d4 now. So I've got knight h3 to f2. And b3, bishop e2, maybe d5. Castle queenside. Try and liberate the bishop. So e5, e3, and then g4. g4 straight away. I'm just asking for this bishop to be a real target. Don't know about taking here. He has to take the pawn. If he takes, that's not bad, surely. I'm just opening up the bishop. Is that right? I think I'll sack. I'm tempted to sack a pawn. Yeah, it's not a pawn set. G7. So I can play knight e4, and that pawn will be vulnerable. So knight takes, and then maybe bishop d3. Okay, he's going to try and get the knights going now that the bishop's been locked up. Okay, also e4 is a bit vulnerable. Did I want to do that? I'll protect that guy. Okay, I'll get out the pin. Don't like the pins. Pin and win. What about rook f2 to f5? Rook f2, then rook f5, then I'll be on e5. So rook f2 to f5, then maybe taking on e5. Exchange sack, bishop, be good. No, I'll just lose d3. d3 is vulnerable, so something like rook f2, bishop c2, then rook f5. Interesting. Knight, is he examining knight e4? Anyway, the rook's. Okay, what about just g3 here, just to try and get tempo. If knight e4 maybe takes out one piece. So now rook f2 here. Where's this queen going? Oh, he's not really gonna win h2, surely. Rook h1. Right, these bishops are just hemmed in. What am I doing with these bishops? He's just holding up e5 very, very solidly. Get this bishop away from that pink. plan is just going to get. He could have got a knight to d4. That would have been torture as well. I'm going to try and break open this bind. This bind he's got on d4. Okay. Where are the opportunities here? Queen f3, f5 to e6. Queen f3 does rook f8 all the time. If he takes, then I might be looking forward to c5, bishop b3. With this bishop hemmed in, are these bishops really just useless here? Seems a fairly passive position. Maybe takes and queen a5, that would be cheeky, going for the c5 pawn. This is getting vulnerable. Am I being pedantic? Queen e3. No, I don't know. I don't know how to break open this position. Actually, an exchange sack. Rook d1 to d5 would liberate the bishop a little bit. One square forward. Do this exchange sack. Try and lift blockades. So you could take, but then I have c5 as a target. I take rook c2, maybe a4, bishop a3 later. I'm just going to get these bishops have got to get going on these two diagonals. They're just totally stuck here. I try and emphasize the diagonals. That's good news, I think. b5 and c5. I think b5 gains a tempo, which is critical. And I could try c5 now. So takes would be a major threat. Well, immediately rook takes this double check. Oh, and mate. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh, that's funny, liberation. When liberation goes right, you can bring out the champagne. Oh dear, oh dear. These bishops were just terrible. How did he muck that up? Just knight e6. Knight e6 here. What am I doing about knight d4? It'd be terrible. He had e5 protected, didn't need to protect it again. So I have this crazy idea of rook e5 and it really worked. So it's 1-1. 1-1. It's not a whitewash. So first to 5. Okay, at 2084. Play Albin come to get. It's one of my favourites. I should really play a few more King's Engines as well. But I'm playing with knight c6, playing it the proper way now. This f6 and bishop g4, not worrying about b4 with a5. Don't want to waste move with a5 when you can play bishop g4. And I don't know, queen e7 here. Takes is making on e2, so I can get away with this and castle queenside, I think. So is d3 potentially a threat? Knight e4. Okay, so what's happening on b4? b4. So knight e4, b5, knight e5. I think knight e4 looks, for knight c3 looks good. Looks as though it's got something to it. But maybe, you know, b5, maybe just knight a5, just on c4. Just try and use the c5 square later. Oh, it's tested now. So knight a5, you know, say knight d4, rook d4, queen d4, knight b3. He's got queen e4. Oh, that could be useful. Fork. Knight d4. What about just knight b3, queen b3, rook d4? So knight d4. What about just queen f6 as bishop e4, rook d4? Queen f6. What about just queen e5 as bishop e2? Okay. Why not just b6 here? And then knight c5 maybe. Then knight b3. So knight c5 would give me b3 as an opportunity. If I can get b3 and I hit the rook, I hit the bishop, and I'm like threatening bishop f3 and knight d2 in some lines. If I can get rid of the dark square bishop, that might be something. What about d3 as well? Okay, so bishop f3, d3. Or am I just wasting my time? This is a nice blockade actually with the knights. What about queen takes e2? Is that too cheeky? Queen takes e2. Say rook e1, queen d3. Is that possible? I'll go for it, I think. As long as there's no major horrible checks. He could try and get a major check on f5 if he moves the bishop away from f5, but otherwise queen d3 is a point of taking e2. I've just weakened just weakened d3. Okay, so I can take now. Well, this f7's vulnerable, so I take rook c2. I can't see anything else apart from taking. I need to gain a tempo. So bishop f5. We got b1 as well. It's a nice sort of skewering type move. So okay, say the rook moves to b2. Actually, there's knight d3. No, rook b3. Knight e1, bishop e1. No. Bishop takes b2. Then he can't take with that one. He takes the other one. Bishop takes b2. Bishop takes b1. Rook takes b1. So I'm threatening losing the exchange. What about just pinning this guy for a sec? Or it does something horrible. Like knight f7. Pin and win. Nice blockading knights. Quite enjoy having those. So bishop d6, maybe rook a f8. So where's, I don't know. It's gone a bit messy, this game. What am I trying to do? Am I trying to get pressure on the f file? I don't really know exactly what I'm doing. There seems to be tasty pressure. Maybe knight d3 at the right moment. Maybe taking on e5. This is a strong knight. I think that's why I'm actually having difficulty with the position. It's this huge knight. Maybe if I get rid of it, then the position will be easier. Ah, okay. Okay. Try and get a battery Monday when this bishop moves away. I can't get my rook e8 in now. Right, so this is fascinating. Really, that he stopped me from playing some natural moves. This knight's quite dangerous, but this bishop's kind of blocked in. Okay, so what about bishop takes b1 here, just to force matters? Rook takes b1 is guaranteed. Then bishop e5. What about that? Because rook, yeah, I'll just get rid of this knight. And this bishop f4 is really strong. Oh, hang on, there's rook b3. Oh, I can't leave both knights to be taken. Uh-oh. So I have to take that. Okay, but he's just sacked the exchange there. So bishop d6 and bishop c5. Okay, that's not takeable at the moment because of bishop c5, or is it? I'll play bishop c5 just in case. Because the king could move. If I play rook e2, then a king could move. I want to get rid of this bishop on c6 really as well. So maybe something like rook d6 and just take and give it back just to simplify the position. I know that's not very greedy, but position's too hard to play, is it? These bishop, there's no entry point on the e file. If I can simplify the position. Okay, and he's got these 3-2 pawn majority which he's using. I can sack the exchange here on g5 and play rook f5. Just to simplify, get rid of the bishop here. Well, that's going to happen here. In any case, is he going to play g5? Play g5 so I can play rook f5. So situation on pawns. Situation on pawns 3, 4, 5, 6. So, just the exchange up. Now rook takes and g takes. I can simplify finally. getting rid of that bishop pair, which is really dangerous. Getting a pawn. Bishop's kind of trapped there at the moment, but he's going to play for g6. So do I try and win d5 with rook d7, h5, rook d5, g6? Will it be too late? I can go back to d6 and g7, rook g7, g6. Let's try that. Some rook maneuvers like slot races now. Rook takes d5 to d6. Actually, there'd be a sort of pin there, wouldn't it, if it takes. Uh-oh, there's king f5. That doesn't help the cause. I've got to get my things working. I mean, pawns working. I'm going to get these pawns out. So I think I think it's too late, actually. I think this pawn's a killer. Oh, there. With g6. What am I doing about that? What has he just played here? a4. Okay. Yes, pointless check. Or is it? So this pawn is a killer. I can't get behind it. Can I try and get this pawn working? Okay, so I got pawn. I can wait for king b7. I can just get this guy working. This pawn's coming down to get me. Ah, if I had the bishop on e5, then that bishop would be stuck protecting g7. So something like d3 and bishop g7. d3 for bishop d4. 25 seconds each. So bishop d4 as soon as g7. Uh-oh. I just lost the piece. There's b2, hang on. There's b2. What is he doing here? He's got 12 seconds. I think he might muck this up. I've got this funny feeling about this position. Oh, this is good for me. All of a sudden. Call it intuition. But if I can stop that g7. Oh, he's lost on time, so that's 2-1. That was a really tense game to the wire. Really tense. Wow. So the difficulties of being in the exchange up demonstrated there. His piece was just really good. Pawn majority was starting to creep forward. I think he could have used it to win quite easily there. He just didn't carry on ruthlessly with them. Gave me some pawn mobility on the queen side with a pawn sack. They shouldn't have been such a big deal, my pawns. So 2-1. Okay, at the moment I'm leading the auto pairing today 2-1. So right. Let's be back in about 20 seconds. I'm going to lose probably a bit of time on the clock when it gets back. So I've got I am 2286. Maybe d4 here. Alright, what should I play against this? Tarash. Sometimes I used to win that in the past. Tarash. Let's play it with f4. Okay, zipper, like sort of mainline Tarash. Catching up on the clock. He's probably going to play c takes d4 actually. And bishop b4, maybe king e2. I think I've won with that in the past. Some idea of king e2 just to keep a bind in the centre. So I don't think it's going to be f takes. Oh, okay. Knight g5 takes, queen h5, king e7. What about f5 there? Without bishop g5. I think I'll go for it. Brutal. Be brutal here. Be brave and brutal. I think, in fact, I can take and then come back and all sorts of things. What's this? Even better, isn't it? Isn't that just crushing? The threat of queen at queen h5 here. I don't think g5 is right. I have a funny feeling it's not that sound. So now queen h5 here. Although knight f7 is queen e8. So maybe I should take here first before doing anything. So knight e5. Okay, there's a check just to gain a tempo. I just need to get my pieces. I want these pieces higher quality than these guys. So bishop f4 could be the start of that dream to come true. Actually, bishop e5 and knight e6. There's queen e5. There's queen d6. Knight f7 just loses to knight f7. Queen f7. Hang on, it's not so clear either. I just castle queens. Knight d3, winning the bishop on f4. So if I take in knight e5, bishop e6, queen, I think I'm going to take just for knight e6 and queen e5. So there's queen g7. In fact, is his king really going to come out? It might do to b6. That'd be annoying. But what about, I don't know, a4? I'll give it a shot. So bishop e2 actually defend my king on the. Is my queen really decentralized now? It is, isn't it? Queen's had it. So queen h. I don't know. Queen h7. Go back to d3 to threaten queen b5. It's got a point to it. At least my queen's not totally out of the game. If I can play queen, if I can play castle's queen side without anything really nasty happening on the queen side, I'm connecting my rooks. Then knight f3. So if c4, queen d4, maybe I'll take the queen off. Knight f3. Actually, queen b5. Why don't I play queen b5 there? So knight f3 here. Knight h3, actually, no. So that is good to double up rooks on the 7th. There's nothing wrong with it, is there? Rook e1 though, could that be threatening? Oh, bishop f3, if I try and win 2 rooks for the queen. Rook c2, bishop f3 could question this whole thing. Is he really wanting to give up 2 rooks? My pieces might be protecting each other for a little bit. There's queen f4 there. Okay. Oh, there's rook takes b2 winning. Oh, there's that. That's painful. End of game. Oh, that was a disaster as well. These games are quite brutal today. It's a totally decentralised position. I should have just taken maybe when I had the chance. On e5, just play this. Takes just like f3, easy. Don't allow the rooks double on the 7th. Safety tip. So it's 2-all. Oh dear. that was fun anyway. So 2-all. Maybe a king's engine if d4. Okay, Trompovsky type. I don't really want to fall in with e5 and takes and then like c4 to e3 d5, that sort of thing. But I don't know. Is that really his plan though after that? Because usually the bishop would go over here surely. Is he going to pick d takes? No. So knight h5 to f4. Is that on the cards? Ah, interesting. Okay. I'll counter-attack in the centre. So g5, knight e4 and try and get central counter-attack. Okay. I can win e5 at the end of this. Would it be that bad? I hope not. So is he going to take? I'll leave him to take the queen. Give my rook square. Otherwise that rook's being developed with tempo. I've had that before. Disaster. Okay, so bishop e6 and somewhere knight c4. f5 here. You can take on e5, bishop e5, bishop moves back. Right. What about knight c4 if he doesn't take on e5? Knight c4 hits the bishop on e3. And maybe a6 and c5 is good. If I play a6 and then c5 and then bishop e6, would that look? That would look good. The bishop's okay. It's menacing on over here. So I'm gonna lose b7 or something here. Maybe I should have taken that dark square bishop. You know. Now it's a big problem I've created. I'm losing one of these pawns. This is quite nasty. This is I'm losing 2 pawns, I think. Bishop takes b7. It's quite unpleasant. If I want to lose the exchange, rook c8. Nope, losing 2 pawns. Unless I take and then hit the bishop like rook a7 artificially. Again, there's like knight c5. Ouch. This game got painful quite quickly. I've got no squares. Can I kill this guy? Actually, he's not going to take there, is he? He's going to win my exchange. Oh. It's resignable. So quick. What about these pawns though? If I can try and get counterplay with these pawns, maybe there's hope there. I've just realised. If I can win h3, there might be a glimmer of hope. Nope. What about f3? It's going to give me bishop e5 for 2 bishops. It has to get these pawns going. It's 3-1 on the queen side. Is he going to get the pawns going? Otherwise, what's the plan? Right. Can I get away with taking on a2? No, b3 swallows the bishop, or bishop c3. I'll be cheeky. I'm asking for trouble. Because maybe there's bishop b4 to try and wrench the bishop out. If he hasn't got rook d2, there might also... I don't know. Well, we'll see now. Okay. Bishop f4 could be handy. At least I've got a restraint on his 2-0 pawn majority here. So I check. Maybe try and encourage some concession with these pawns over here. So bishop c4 to d3. I could win f5 back maybe. Oh, there's knight c5 again, really annoying, knight c5. Is bishop d3 going to happen? No. Not likely. So what about king to f6? As an alternative. That's knight e4. Okay, over here I'm still on these guys on that bishop's ready to do some stuff over there. Some magic, but there's always knight e4 of king f6. With knight e4 here, oh, you can win a pawn rather cruelly. So knight g5, okay. Cruel. Gulp. Okay, it's just getting eaten alive in this game. Eaten alive. No idea what to do here. It's resignable. Indeed. Let's place these bishops. That's the thing of that. that's cruel. What a cruel game after casting queenside. So I didn't know what his plan was, but he just a lot of queenside pressure here. Tons of queen. So I should have taken the opportunity to maybe knight takes e3, just to avoid that bishop being absolutely fantastic piece. Okay, so what's the score? I think it's 3-2 now. I'm on the verge of losing this match, this epic match today. So I've lost 3, I've won 2, but it's at that side of the rating. It's tougher. Okay, so 3-2 down. Maybe Boris Smith, Gambit. Playing with f4, which is interesting treatment. It's it's quite kind of rarer, I think, to play it with f4 because I've weakened the diagonal, but sometimes it works out. So queen b3, have a knight g5 because the bishop's not protecting b7. I don't particularly mind bishop f3. Right. Okay. I could take knight b5 and then bishop e3, trying to win a pawn back. It's novel, I know, but what does he do about b6 anyway? Okay, what does he do about f7? More questions to ask. So if there's g4 here and f5, because otherwise knight f7 was winning the rook. So if bishop g6, f5 is trapping the bishop. Ah, he's got it covered with that. Oh, that's a real shame. Oh, that's tragic. Unless knight e6 takes, g takes, maybe that's best. Just to try and cause... Well, there's a clamp on g6, there's a dislocation in the centre, this bishop's hemmed in. It's not all bad, surely. What if I just take... If I don't... I'm thinking knight b4. If I just take for the moment... And if takes, maybe e5. He'll take the b pawn, he'll just repair his pawn structure. Okay. If I just neutralise this thing on castle queenside. like I've got a good lock on g6 here anyway. So if I just play king e2, and I like the light square bind, is it going to be unbound? I can't see anything at the moment. So I'm connecting rooks anyway with this move. I can get a rook to g6, maybe e5 later. That's not too bad. Oh, unbinding, sacking a pawn. Well, I get a pawn, but I was looking forward to the bind, really. It's d3 and bishop b2. Ah, this is what happens when your opponent gets liberated. All the pawns are going forward. I'm going to sack the exchange here. I can't take this. I want this pawn moving, not these pawns. And I want this pawn moving quick. It's not happening, is it? Okay, well, can I make it happen? b3 just to try. Oh no, I can't stop these pawns. Ah, how to do this? Will I try and undermine the queen side at the cost of a pawn with a4, just to fragment? So bishop c4 and king d3. In fact, takes king d3. Okay, let's give me this pawn. That's interesting. Now, these pawns are really dangerous. Okay, but b6, b7. As soon as he plays c3, there's rook g7 or king d3. If I get to play b7, then that's interesting. Sort of. I can maybe take on c4. Then just eliminate these two pawns, actually. This isn't so bad. That a4 was actually quite good, I think. In the circumstances. Right, so b7 here, and I've got all of a sudden rook g7. Okay, so I can take both pawns now. I've got that exciting option of taking both pawns. Or there's rook h6. Because where are the pawns going? Do I need to rush to lose b7? I can play rook takes h6. What would he do there? Say rook b3, bishop takes c4. So, bishop c4, I don't know. Do I risk that? I could still take on d3. So rook, what does rook h6 do? Gives me a bit of do I just take both pawns with bishop c4? Do I play rook h6? Fascinating question. Bishop c4, rook b7, bishop d3. I might. I don't know. I think I'll take and then play for h6 later. So that's why I'm going to take that pawn. There's a reason. Again, I want to play rook g6 and h6. So it's more than just the material, it's the impact. Okay, already. In fact, rook g7 is now threatened. Oh, I've just got skewered, well done. Oh no, I've lost my chance to take those pawns. Disaster. Pawns are totally liberated, I've lost that battle. Unless I can get another blockade. Second chance, blockade. There's no rook b1 at the moment. Okay, another blockade here. Oh, this is a tense game. There's rook g7 now as a threat. Or e7 takes just on that rook. Okay, so check here. Oh, I can get my h6 in. Hang on, if h6 d1 takes, see, there's no entry point for the rook just yet. No, I'd risk doing that. I want to get my rook down here first, actually, rather than these stunts. If my rook was down on g1, then I feel a lot better. Okay, like now, for instance, would be a good time, just before the pawn queens. So rook b2, king c3. Okay, d1, I'm handling d1. I've got h7, the promised land of h7 after taking that pawn greedily on h6. Bishop's holding. This is quite an entertaining game, but I'm down to my last 58 seconds as well. So, h7, is it now or never? h7. Okay, can I get to play rook g8 at any time? Rook g8 actually threatens immediately h8, queening. So it's even here, so I think I'm going to play rook g8. Threat of h8, queening. If d1 takes c2, I've got king c1 still. So this could actually, I can queen with check. But he's threatening, what a muppet, he's threatening d1. This is really serious. Ah. He's threatening d1. This is getting really critical, and I've only got 30 so seconds. Oh dear. I can take the rook now with rook. I can take the rook. I'll take it without the king recapturing, and I can stop d1. So he resigned. Okay, so it's 3-all. That was really tense game. So 3-all against the autopairing today. So interesting moves by both sides. I think all about pawn mobility here. He sacrificed to get pawn mobility, and I played. I think a4 was a good try in the circumstances. Gave me that b pawn, so it's all of a sudden a bit risky for him, these pawns. But then I fell for that skewer. I thought it was all over. Got another second chance blockade, and my h pawn actually started to play a role now. Okay, so 3-all. Oh no, not this guy again. He keeps beating me. That's the problem playing him. I think I've got a terrible record against him. Oh dear. Oh dear. Can I play it with without the pinchetta? I'll just play it like this. I'm going to type the bishop on a7. Maybe without f5. It's too simplified at f5. What about h5? A surprise h5. Would he be ready for that? If I didn't castle, because his bishop can't pin this knight. So h5, that'd be naughty. Okay, maybe g5. That's a good joke. G5 is a good joke. Except knight g4, and I wouldn't be laughing after f3 probably. I'll play anyway. Queen g5 takes. Oh, it's interesting. Bishop's on e3. Interesting. Although he hasn't moved the bishop yet, so knight e3 is not effective. His bishop cementing e3. So he has got f3. Takes. Queen h5 and queen h2 as threats. Okay. Okay, can I undermine yet? I can't undermine anything. About h4. Just thinking h4. Just carry on crudely. h4. Maybe I'll move the king. Queen g8 to h7. That'd be cool. Or king e7. Even the bishop's not on that diagonal yet. These pawns are in the way to get to g5. So king e7 suffers from knight d5 though. Okay. So if I take now, I'll take on d4. If knight g3, I'll take on d4. So this could be dangerous. I could be onto something here, because otherwise there's knight f2 now. Surely knight f2, bishop h3. Interesting. So it's knight f2, because if he takes with g3, he takes. This bishop's actually... I can't allow this bishop to be... oh, he's going to take on c6, check. He's going to take on c6. No, he's not. How odd. Okay, knight f6. Maybe I can just take with the knight. I'm now threatening e2. So this bishop's really come into play. What about just knight d4 here? That's juicy, surely. Knight d4. and then e2. So e2 now, and then there will be a double checkmate with knight f3. Ooh, what's going on? Knight f3 will be double check and mate because of the h file being covered. So I'm attacking the rook. So if rook f2, is that becoming an only defence? Rook f2, knight takes f2, king takes. I haven't got like knight c1 check. He just takes the pawn. That looks dangerous. What has he done here? This looks exceptionally dangerous. Rook e1, knight f3 is double check and mate, surely. So let's examine rook f2. Okay, it's just giving up his rook. Wow. Do I take the rook? I don't really want to relieve the pressure, but taking a rook is kind of tempting. I can take this guy and weaken the diagonal. So again, say the knight takes d5. So knight d5 takes e3, queen e7. Say knight d5 again. Again, there's knight f3 double checkmate. So I could play queen e7. I've got that luxury, surely, to play queen e7 here. There's no knight d5 because of knight f3. Now if rook e1, then I don't know. Maybe just king f8. Okay, maybe I'm just diagonal though. Really need to what do I need to do here, ideally, without losing the rook? Probably just king f8 first. If I just play king f8 first, as if I'm going to protect the rook of king g8. Really, I want to get these pieces out, like bishop g4. Do I want to get the pieces out? Is it time? So bishop g4, there's still a double checkmate opportunity. If he takes, there's knight f3 double check and mate. But c5, he could block that. Oh, c5 is a pain. Oh dear, I think I've just lost a piece. I've just wrecked my position with that one move. Uh-oh. Unless I'm playing c4. Knight g4, I've just lost the piece. What about c4 though? Try and get the bishop open again against this king. And this c3 offers anything here? Queen c3, knight e2 check. So I could play c3 here. Just try and... No, there's oh. Right, finally, let's just do this. So there's knight f5. Alright, it's shorter on time. I think I've gained a bit of time advantage from all this. So knight f5, queen h8 is mate. Safety tip not to do that. Queen e6, I can get away with that because of queen e3 is as weak as like to knight d4. So if I can get to play rook e8, at least I've got the rook in. It wasn't how I anticipated it as being that easy. There's also c3, just queen c3, knight e2 now, because that knight's off e2, so c3 comes in handy to get this diagonal less of a problem. If I can get to play c3, that would be really cool. c3 might be wise to play it now. Don't tell me there was queen d5 there. Was there queen d5 for knight 3? No, the king f2. Okay. Was that hot? Oh. Hang on, takes a knight f3 as queen d5, queen d5. So queen, I don't know, queen d6? Queen d6 here? No, I just lose the queen. Queen d7. What about just knight takes, queen sack, bishop e3? 3 pieces for the queen. I'll go for this. 3 pieces for the queen. because the rook's pinned as well, and also there's c2. So in fact c2 here looks like a crushing solution. So there's no bishop b3, bishop f5 c1. How does he defend against the queenie threat? The queen, I'll play c2. Please, I don't want to get mated. This would be such a beautiful game to win if I can win this game. After all these tactics. Okay, so if I play just calmly takes, I'm still maintaining the threat of just queening. The rook can't move, I'm just threatening to queen. Also there's rook h1 and knight g3 if I need it. Yes! Yes! That was brilliant, I thought. Oh dear, that was brilliantly tactical, that's what I mean. Unbelievable. Unbelievable game. g5. He didn't go for f3. I thought he was collapsing here. I thought it was end of game. Then all of a sudden, I mean I've just won a rook, basically. I'm a rook up. But then I give back a piece, as you do, and then there's just total madness after. Okay, so it's 4-3. Could I actually win this match today? Putting me in great certainty of losing the next match. But if I could win this match today, that'd be pretty cool. So this guy's kind of dangerous. He's been up to 2-3-5-7. This Casanova character. So 4-3 FM. Hack him up with e4, I think. Morris Smith Gambit. You guys all want Morris Smith Gambit, I guess, rather than normal Sicilian. If he accepts, it will be fun. If he doesn't, we've got c3 Sicilian. Okay, we've got that line again. I'll play it with f4. Pre-move. Can I risk a pre-move? Can't see any. Okay, he's shocked. He's shocked about f4. It's understandable. He's wondering, should he stop me castling with queen b6 now? I've broken the rule in the FIDE manual, the secret FIDE manual, about moving the f pawn. But you know, b4 knight a4, is that possible? Actually, he could be playing for knight g4 here. No. Okay. Just in case I need bishop g1. Okay. Can I just stop this pawn? a4, b4. e5 doesn't look too brilliant. So I think. Oh, what's happened here? Okay, so maybe queen f2 and bishop f2. No, queen f2 and knight g4. That e5 here, or just e5, is that too dangerous? Bishop d4. Sort of towel pointing bishops at the king comes to mind. Okay, so e5 here looks as though there's a point to it. Is he going to take? Okay, so there's queen, maybe queen e4 g6. Playing with fire, that discovery. Knight c3, queen b7 though. So is it provoking a dark square weakness without a major problem? Because I've always got queen b7. So if g6, bishop h, there isn't bishop h6. Right. But I'll play it anyway, just to create weakness. So g6, maybe queen g4. If I can get to play queen g4, I think queen g4 is right. Unless I want to play knight d5. I don't think there's any point. Could let him capture. Okay, where it is. Cement the bishop on d4. Alright, so his knight g5 he just takes, plain and simple. No tactical funny stuff there. What about h4, h5 to try and undermine g6? I can get that in. Or rook d1 first, would that be handy, rook d1? think h4 is quite tempting. h5, queen g3, over protecting e5. Those of which will be proud. Ah, okay, I'm about to lose my... Unless I play bishop takes b3 to keep the seemingly bad bishop, I can lose the seemingly bad bishop. But then I lose c3, it just takes... c3's dropped me off. Oh, I'll go for this. Just to keep d4. It's bad, but it's good. You know, it's protecting c3 in particular. And get a dangerous pawn with h6 here if I wanted it. Do I want that or hg? Hg or h6? That's the question. I'll go for h6. Usually, for some reason, h6 is paying dividends recently. I think Magnus has inspired h6s recently more with his win against Nakamura. He had a pawn on h6. It's not always about opening the roads. What about g4 though? If I did want to open some roads to the king, g4, bishop g4, rook g1. So otherwise bishop g6. The queen's kind of tied with the bishop to protect g5. But g4, of course, weakens the diagonal. Okay, there's bishop g5 coming up. That's probably the idea. Just to win that pawn. Is that greedy? And there's queen h4 after. It's not particularly. So do I play g3 just to stop? Oh, it's not brilliant. Oh, it's not brilliant. It's check and g3 is almost winning for him. Can I turn the tables here with rook f5 or something? No. Knight e4. So bishop h6, knight e4, queen h4 say, king g1, g3, end of game. Or is it? There's knight f6 there. So let's go for that. Actually, it's nearly end of the game, isn't it? Right, there's knight f6. Okay, now there's rook takes f5, isn't there? Queen h2, king f1, just in time. There's bishop g1 to cover the king. Otherwise there's e6. So this is getting very interesting. So I can get to play e6, takes, and then some check somewhere. Where? So e6 takes, and then some weird check. I think I have to do e6, otherwise I've got no play, so I'll play e6. Because there might be queen e5, that's bishop g7. Queen e6, there's bishop g7, okay. He's tying that bishop down. So there's queen e5, bishop g7, end of game. Or is there takes, queen e6? If I play queen e6, then there might be queen f5. Okay. Queen's a bit out of play at the moment on h1. Babysitting my king. There's queen. What's that? There's rook f3 here. Takes queen f3. That's really dangerous. So queen f5 protects against rook f3 and threatens queen h7. There's no major checks, I think. If he moves the bishop to protect h7 with his queen. Do I really believe this rook f3? What about just king e2 there? Probably just queen e5 here, there's bishop g7. I think I'm going to go for queen e5. Actually, this is ridiculous, this rook f3 idea. No, it's not ridiculous. No, he's got queen g2. So I'm going to have to take... He's going to play rook f3. Takes queen f3, king e1. Okay, he hasn't got queen c3 there. He hasn't got rook e8 or anything. So I'm just going to have to take the rook and hope for the best. Alright, there's knight e4 check. If I want to check without losing the queen. I'll play knight e4 check. Oh, there's bishop g7. Okay. Interesting. 38 seconds to think about this. Queen d4. I can't see any lethal check. Knight h5. Okay, there's no bishop g7, but queen d5. Right, what's this? This is check. Okay. I can. No, it's. Oh dear. I've just lost my queen. It's pinned. Ah. What? Why didn't I take his queen? I could have taken his queen. The whole point of that, take his queen. End of game. Ah, I was losing the rook anyway. Oh, it's too complicated. So it's 4-all. It's actually really tough today. It seems all these games are quite tough. But it's looked as though I messed something up here. Maybe, but this g5, g4 is very good, probably. Okay, so deciding game, and this is going to be a draw. This could be the last game. So maybe today, King's Indian. Fast pace, classical, or chosen system. So knight c5, h6 and knight h7, maybe Fischer would play like that. Against Tau, there was some early beatings, but I think later. Okay. Get to play f5, f4 here. Looks like a typical King's Indian attack, unless I want to try and... I don't need to try and play anything clever, I think it's just get the pawns going. Get the bishop out of the way, rook f7 to g7, then g4. I'll let him take on a5. Okay, bishop c8. Just protect b7 though. That should slow down his queenside attack a bit. Fragmented pawns. So rook g7, playing for g4, maybe knight g5. And get knight g5 in f3 will be a threat. Okay, am I going to get in my knight g5? Okay, knight g5 is in there. So I'm on e4, maybe f3 is a threat. Try and smash up the king position here with f3 if he doesn't move the bishop. Queen's on a4, that's something to note. Ah, is this knight vulnerable? Can I just take that? I'll give him d5. If I don't, other problems. There's always bishop d8, I suppose. There's always on queen d5. I can't let him play CB, so I'm playing for f3 here. Actually, knight h3 to f4. I can get this kingside attack going with rook h7. Actually, I'm on d5 now for the knight and the queen. So something like, what about queen h5 threatening rook g4? Or queen h3, that's pretty quick. I'm getting queen h3. If the queen moves rook g4, otherwise queen h3, this is looking interesting all of a sudden. This diagonal's going to open up with the bishop. Okay, so there's queen g3 as a threat as well. Queen d5 though, if I play king h8, there's queen h5. No, there isn't, I just take, pinned. Okay. This is queen g3 and rook h7. Looks to me like mate in 2. Alright, 5-4 today. Intense match, I'm sure you'll agree. There's some really interesting games there. So this King's Indian wasn't too bad. Just usual standard kind of stuff. yeah, so let's look at that. That is definitely 5-4, I think, today. So -1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've managed to get the better of the auto pairing in another match today. Just about. Comments or questions on YouTube. Thanks very much.